So, we all know what the talk of the city is right now. Kamala Harris and President Trump, and the election is coming up in November. That's the hottest news right now. And the reason why it's the topic of discussion right now is because if Kamala Harris, Kamala, okay, because they was making fun of people that just calling her name wrong today, like it really makes a difference in who this lady is. If Kamala Harris becomes the president, she will be the first woman president in history to be voted into presidency. Not only that, she will be the first colored woman to be voted into presidency because she's not technically black. She's not technically an African American woman. But I think everybody knows that. And if everybody don't know, now you know, okay? But anyway, Kamala Harris done started on her campaign trail and she just did a rally in Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, wow. Atlanta, Georgia, of all the places to go to, she would go to Atlanta, Georgia first. You know why? Because that's where all the Dems at. That's where all the black people at. And she just threw a rally down in Atlanta, Georgia. She didn't really say nothing when you watch this video. And then she had Quavo from the Migos, the rapper from the Migos, give his little speech. Shouts out to Quavo. But it sounded like he was just doing ad-libs for one of his hottest songs or something. And not only that, what really gets me is that she even invited Megan Thee Stallion to the rally. And Megan Thee Stallion performed. And Megan Thee Stallion is twerking at the rally. Like it's a pep rally or something. Like, I don't know, man. I'm an African American, but I don't even condone this stuff when it comes down to trying to win the president position. Roll the clip.
Thank you, everyone. Can we please hear it for Tyler? I want to thank Tyler for that incredible introduction. I invited him and several other young entrepreneurs to come and visit with me at the White House. And we had a really very long and important conversation about the future of America. And Tyler, you represent the best of our future. Thank you for that. Thank you. And please give it up for Quavo. And Megan. So it is so good to see everyone. And let me also thank our... So let's get right down. So I'm gonna get into some business now. Okay, I'm gonna get into some business now. All right. So Georgia, as many of you know, before, and have a seat if you have a chair.
You can't understand the struggles of gun violence if you're not in the field or in the heart of it. So one thing I learned about working with Vice President Harris is she always stand on business. From inviting me, what's up, mama? From inviting me to the White House last year to discuss these solutions to passing the biggest gun safety laws to date. So it's only right in the birthplace of the culture. It's also the same place to launch the first African-American woman to run for president.
Does she think Megan Thee Stallion twerking at a political event is supposed to secure the black vote?
Girl, really?
If you wear booty shorts to your children's graduation, this is not the video for you. If you listen to Sexy Red on your way to church, this is not the video for you. If you work in public service and you pop bubble gum while you're talking to customers, this is not the video for you. Today, Megan Thee Stallion was twerking and gyrating at Kamala Harris's event or rally in Atlanta. And I have nothing against Kamala. And I have nothing against Megan Thee Stallion. But this was not the time or the platform to be shaking your ass and twerking for the world to see.
Man, I'm all for Megan Thee Stallion. I'm all for Quavo. You feel me? But I just don't understand why, as black people, we have to be entertained by rap music all the time. You feel me? There's so many different more people she could have got that come to her rally to vouch for her, to stand with her. But why does black people, why do we always have to look to rap music as our saviors? You feel me? Because I don't really find it appropriate to be twerking for a woman that will be the first woman to become president. That's just not a good look. But I guess that's how they shop when it comes down to black people, because I guess they know that it turns black people on. But anyway, I'll go forward. Not only that today, but Judge Joe Brown. Do y'all remember Judge Joe Brown? Yeah, the judge that don't really care. He don't hold his tongue. He don't sugarcoat nothing. He tell it just like it is. And Judge Joe Brown actually got common sense. So Judge Joe Brown just did a whole interview. I ain't gonna play the whole interview, but he just did a whole interview. All right. And he just gave his 2 cents about who Kamala Harris really is and how he feels about her. Roll the clip.
But I gotta ask you about Kamala Harris. How you feel about her?
She's a piece of shit. I was in California. She lacked professional competence, and she worked on it by hiking up her hemline when she needed influence rather than researching. I was out in California for 15 years doing my show when she was at her peak, and she had a reputation amongst the trial lawyers of being lazy. She just hike her skirt up and try to flirt, and she wasn't that good in the courtroom, if not pretty bad in the courtroom. So I'm not surprised at what she does. She's 60 years old, and I think, listening to her word salad and the way she talks, I think she's got early onset dementia and also some problems with menopausal complications. That's that, you see, today is going to be tomorrow, so since it's going to be tomorrow, today we have tomorrow, which is why we are now. Like, what did you say? They have something in mind, but they cannot cognate getting all the way through it, which is why she's famous for this word salad garbage, and she doesn't make a bit of sense. I think, since she's only 60, she's actually on a worse track than Biden was. Biden is 20-some years older than her, and he has been senile for a long time. Now, about 5 or 6 years ago, when did they start ramping up to do this? 2019. Okay, I was saying Biden has been a failure his whole adult career, a second-rate, third-string player. He's in the game, so he wants to make a name for himself. I considered him for years poor trailer park, urban trailer park trash. And he's a crook. He's a third stringer. Now, what I said he was going to do is he probably wants to claim fame for being the first person to see to it that a woman got to be president. And what I predicted, I'm slightly wrong on it, was that he was going to get in, try to get elected, and if he got one term, try to get elected for a second one. And then halfway through his term, when he had served 2 years, to retire or resign in her favor. So under the 22nd Amendment, what happens is she can serve for the final 2 years for somebody and then be elected twice more. So that woman would be able to serve 10 years, second only to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who got elected to 4 terms before they put the amendment in place so you couldn't. Now, that said, I think, and my major at UCLA was political science, my analysis is they picked the weakest somebody they could as a figurehead, somebody who had some apparent minority status, which she does not. And what goes on is that you get her, everybody that is everybody would be afraid to go against her because of what she can pass herself off as. And then you get somebody that's easy to control because she's lazy, because she is becoming incoherent, and because she's always tried to do the casting couch to get where she wants. Now, the problem is that'll get somebody to a certain level quickly, but you can't get past that level if you don't have competence and talent. So my thing about it is if I'm crude about it, in this city years ago, I used to represent a whole bunch of pimps and hoes, and I know a hoe when I see one. And I say this, I don't care, women, you do what you want to do if you want to have recreational sex, but when you do the casting couch or anything else for professional purposes to get paid or advance, you a hoe. And she's old hoe. And the problem is what is she supposed to do? Somebody, one of her sycophant slaves comes up and unwraps her in a carpet naked at Putin's feet, and he says, oh yeah, I'm Julius Caesar. He said, no, I got better stuff here already. Plus, I don't want you anyway, you old woman. Get on up, you know. Or Xi Jinping, is he supposed to be impressed? She's doing word salad. Well, we're here today because China and the U.S. are here today, and that's why we have to agree on what we're doing here today. Like, fool, what did you just say? What wound up happening was there was a liquor store they like to patronize on the way home, and it was a good liquor store, but it got held up a lot, so Kamala's solution was not go get the crooks, but close down the liquor store so nobody would be troubled by it. See, that kind of philosophy, or you've got a serial killer who's got 6 victims, and the families are writing protest letters to her, not hurry up and do something, not why are you giving the guy such a light deal, is why don't you let this man plead guilty to life without parole instead of delaying it for 7 years, trying to make political hay out of it. I was caught up in a thing where this woman who was supposed to be a financial specialist wound up embezzling a lot, $1.5 million from me, about $15 million from some other black celebrities. And most of it was in the San Francisco area, not LA where I was. She consolidated the cases up there in San Francisco, took 5 years to resolve it, let her plead out not the $15 million of embezzlement, but $35,000. The sentence was 5 years in the penitentiary, 4.5 years suspended, 5 years probation. The woman wound up sitting on a bench outside Sybil Branch, which is the women's detention facility in L.A. County, for 5.5 hours. That's all the time she served, made no restitution. And la-di-da, I'm through with it now, I don't care, on her behalf. Like, where's our money? You know, what did you do here? You didn't even consult with us. You did this on a surprise basis. That's $15 million gone. What happened? It's the kind of thing she would do, see. So it's like, that was not a good professional performance. And then she was everybody's favorite Hindu Indian prosecutor and attorney general and senator, and now she becomes black. But, you know, I met her daddy, fine gentleman, Professor Harris. And the problem with her being black is Professor Harris says he's Caucasian, mixed Irish and Hindu. He doesn't have any black ancestors, but his Irish ancestors owned a lot of slaves in Jamaica and had them to work on plantation. So if mama is on the birth certificate listed as a Caucasian, daddy says he's a Caucasian Hindu and has no black ancestors, how did she get to be black? Now, a little side story. When I had my show, let's say this has been 26 years ago, I had two beautiful women that I thought were sisters on the show. And they laughed one time when we all went to a happy hour and said, "You think we're black, don't you?" "Yeah, aren't you?" "No, we're Hindu." One of them said, "My mother's a Hindu Brahmin caste. My father was Hindu warrior caste. He took an oath to the family to protect her. They fell in love, eloped, and now we got a death warrant on us. We can't go back to India." So, yeah, and then they gave me 2 books. The guys were Hindu, and they were very dark, but they cut their hair off close, grew beards, and started dressing and acting black, and they got financial aid. One of them, I think, went through medical school that way, masquerading for being black. Somebody else did it, so she went to Howard. And by the way, she told one big lie when she was talking about she got bust because of something Biden did when she was running against him. Well, the yearbook that she put out there that you can still get online from her high school in Canada shows she went from kindergarten through 12th grade in Canada, never went to school in the United States of America. She was born, by the way, in the same hospital that my ex-wife was born in, the same 12-month period, and my late mother-in-law was in fact a pediatric nurse in that hospital when Kamala was born. And the birth certificate that she has is interesting because the confusion comes from a mistake. On the birth certificate, it lists the mother's race as Caucasian, national origin India, and religion Hindu. For the father, it does not list national origin. It does not list religion. It does not list anything about that, but where it says race, they put national origin in, Jamaica, by mistake. Now, if you've ever been to Jamaica and you go over to St. Elizabeth Parish, you see all the high, bright, and white that live in Jamaica. So I've got a good friend retired from law enforcement. He has a white wife, blonde-haired, blue eyes, but she was born in Jamaica. Her parents were born in Jamaica. One's blonde and blue-eyed, the other one's red-haired and gray-eyed, and they happen to be related to the King of England because they are aristocrats in England, but they were born in Jamaica. So if you go over there, you see people from Hong Kong, Singapore, New Zealand, Australia, Kenya, South Africa, you name it. It's part of the British Commonwealth, and nobody needed a passport, and you could just go in and out. So it's not unusual. You're not black just because you're from Jamaica, and they have a whole lot of white people that never left, and their ancestors owned a lot of slaves. The Maroons went up into the hill country and got themselves free back in the 1840s, but you know, other than that, it is what it is in Jamaica. So, I mean, they do this kind of thing. So it's not unusual. But I'm just saying, hey, if you're going to bring somebody in, bring in somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. Meanwhile, she had a little rally in Georgia. I think 86 people showed up. That was supposed to be interesting. And she had the nerve to call Vance unpatriotic, and he came back on a big time. He said, simplify, to serve, loyalty. I was in the Marine Corps over in the sand pile, and Trump took a bullet. What the hell have you done? You know, and you want to call somebody out on the subject. See, it's hypocrisy. But you see, I did this because I did what I did, and that's what I did, which is because that's why I did it. Hey, what the hell did you just say? Do you realize what you said? Do you know?